Well, good afternoon, everyone. So I thought initially I would speak about the questions that I've been asked recently. These are true tales of my African adventures. May this inspire you, deter you, caution you, and above all, entertain you. So I was asked if snakes fight. Well, that's an interesting question. Well, they don't fight over politics or religion, but they do fight. But they fight for a more noble cause. Indeed, snakes fight in order to have the creature, which is the strongest with the superior genes, have the mating rights. So this is not a bad reason for a fight, especially when nature depends on it. So if anyone mated with anyone in the wild situation, you might dilute the genes and end up with animals who are weak and unable to carry out their job in the wild, which is a type of very precious conservation called ecology. So yes, indeed, snakes fight, and generally they don't hurt each other. Generally they use strength. So for instance, black mambas would entwine the first third of their body, both of them entwine their bodies around each other, and they would use strength to push each other over until one snake was tired or realized he was outmatched, and then he would depart, leaving the stronger, larger snake with better genes to indeed mate with the female. I, however, have had some vicious cobras which kill the rival, bite them to death, not killing them with poison, but biting them so many times and so viciously that the fangs and other teeth tore into the snake's muscle tissue, into the spine, and indeed breached the body cavity, and the snakes died just from trauma. So I've seen that too. But usually it's a match of strength. So yes, that's a very good question, and that is indeed the answer. Another question I was asked is, what is my most favorite snake? Well, let me tell you, this is a difficult question to answer, although not that difficult. Any creature, and I include all the snakes, which is in its right place at the right time, doing what it should be doing, looks very attractive. They look noble and magnificent, and in the wild, as it carries on its business, each species has an attraction, an allure about it. I must say I have a soft spot for gaboon vipers and indeed green mambas as well. But let me tell you about a gaboon viper, how poisonous it is. It is extremely venomous, with a cocktail of ingredients in the venom, including a cytotoxin and a neurotoxin amongst the several other toxins. And a friend of mine in Natal was bitten by one which had been injured and brought to him for rehabilitation. He placed the gaboon viper in an enclosure and for treatment and recuperation, really. And what he did was he took some newspaper rolled up to shield his hand, as I think he was going to introduce some fresh water, something of that nature. But the snake, being traumatized, struck, knocked the newspaper aside and gave him a full bite. Now, he had enough time to phone a friend of his whose wife happened to be a nursing sister, thankfully. Otherwise he would not be here any longer. And when they arrived at the house, he was supposed to be waiting for them on the porch to go to hospital. And they went in the house because he wasn't on the porch, and there he was, unconscious on the kitchen floor. In fact, his heart had stopped. The venom comes in such large quantities and is so virulent that it actually caused his heart to stop beating between the bite, the shutting of the cage, the phone call, and him walking to the porch. His heart stopped again in the vehicle on the way to the hospital, and I think it is only by the skin of his teeth that he survived. And a green mamba, as you know, bit me, and I was technically dead for a short period. So they too are venomous, extremely venomous. And the bite was in fact so bad that I had one of those experiences where the consciousness within actually separated from my physical body. And it was a large part of the hospital I was in, and I found myself airborne above my body several meters away and viewing my apparent corpse lying on the bed with the doctors fussing over me. So these snakes are very venomous, but nonetheless they have attraction, they have beauty, and green mambas in particular are very elegant. I was also asked if I've ever tried snake charming. Well, that I have never tried, and there is no need to do such a thing because there is no such thing. It's all a sham. Poor cobra is stuck in a basket, and when the lid is taken off and he emerges, he emerges with his hood spread because he is trying to make himself look larger than he really is in order to frighten off the potential enemy which he knows is waiting outside. The flute player then, the snake charmer with his turban and his dress that they wear usually, begins to sway from side to side, moving the flute. The snake is then attracted by this movement. Now they don't have any ears, external ears, but I have it on record that people have tested snakes for hearing, and they do seem to hear somehow or the other. I can explain to you how this mechanism works, but for the sake of answering this question, they technically don't hear you, so they respond more to the movement of the flute and the movement of the man's body moving from side to side. And it serves no purpose other than to earn him a few shekels or a few rupees, depending on where he is, for displaying himself in this manner, which has got no function at all and is seriously a waste of time. So no, I have not tried snake charming, and neither shall I. But thank you for those questions. Thank you very much. Hey, by the way, I do have Patreon, so you can join me there too.